that was a heck of a race that you had there at Bristol, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I think most people that were watching that race, when they saw that yellow come out there right as you were coming down for the checkered flag, that there was a lot of people that probably thought that Kyle Larson was going to get you. But, man, did you get elbows up and man up and held him off. That was a great finish, that race was.
Yeah, it was a little more exciting than than it needed to be. Obviously, we led the whole thing, and that caution fell, and it was one of those where it seemingly was just kind of fall your way, but we didn't get off that easy. That caution came out, and I knew on that restart I was going to really have to step it up and really try to make something happen because I knew they would be coming at the time. I thought it was Schuhart. I wasn't sure if it was Kyle or Schuhart. Obviously, Kyle, as soon as he showed a nose, I figured he was going to be throwing everything he had at me. So fortunate that he'd, just left me a lane around on turn 2 and turn 4, and we were able to squeeze by and get it done.
So let me ask you, when you saw that he was kind of out there and he was coming up towards the wall, I know that it's just a reaction, and that's how you have to respond to it. But when you knew that you were going to have to squeeze in between him and the wall, tell us your thought process right there at that moment, because, man, it was really close right there, within inches.
Yeah, it was. It was a deal where, I figured one was coming into turn 1 on the original restart, but he didn't make, that big of a run into the center on the slider. So I kind of knew that one. I think I was pretty certain I could circle this one, no problem. But generally when you do that, the guy who threw the slider doesn't have any momentum. So then, down the back straightaway, I didn't think I had to worry too much just because I felt like I would have the bigger run down the back stretch into 3 than he did. But, man, he made a really, really good entry into 3, obviously, and was able to get a ton of ground. And so that one that he threw, and he got way out in front of me, and I was able to kind of watch him, start to come across. And as he came up, he started – he didn't keep sliding all the way to the fence, and I was able to kind of see, put a little bit of attitude into the car, and that made me feel like I think he's leaving me a lane. And everyone at that track seemingly these last 2 years runs with a little bit extra caution and just a little bit more awareness of what you're doing and where your car is on the racetrack, just because the speeds were so high.
Right.
But once I saw him leave that little bit of a lane, I was, I didn't at that moment think I'm leading, 24 of these laps and I'm going to lose it on the last one. I was committed to driving around and trying to shoot the gap and squeeze and try to make it happen. And then obviously took his line away into turn 1. So the split-second decision that it's some guys handle it differently. I think some of it was probably me willing to risk just because I wanted to get that first one out of the way for this season so bad. And
right.
After leading the whole thing, you're not ready to just give it up.
Right. You guys been running really good. Did you feel that you had to put that block on him on that last lap, or did you think that big slide was going to come from him, and you thought that was your only option that you had at that moment?
Well, I thought off of 2. I thought maybe that was the time I should have blocked my slider. But the problem with that is Kyle's so good at reading attitudes and kind of predicting where you're going to be. If I would have done that and he shot to the top, he could have circled me off of 4, and then I would have been, at his mercy, or he could have crossed me under, and I would have been stuck with no momentum. So I felt I needed to stay all the way up on the bank, carry as much speed and momentum as possible, and eventually, once I circled him off of 4, going into turn 1, I kind of had him in my pocket, on my left side, so I was able to keep track of him at that point, and made sure that I was able to take the air off his wing rather than just chopping him early down the front stretch and not knowing where he was behind me. I was able to kind of keep him where I wanted him, so then I could take his line away into 1, and that was what sealed the deal. And that's, some people think that's an overly aggressive move. I think it's just it's a smart racing move, and I would expect anyone to do the same to me in order to go win a race. So everything just kind of one of those where everything just worked out exactly how I had envisioned it and wanted it to on that restart. And fortunately, it was able to get us into victory lane.
Man, that's a hell of a payday for you too, wasn't it?
It is, yeah. It's our biggest payday of my career, and obviously a good one to get the first one out of the way. But when it pays a little bit extra like that, it definitely makes it a little more sweet.
Yeah.